My name is Alan Schwab. I teach at Mount Vernon High School in Fairfax, Virginia, and this presentation is called Online Learning, All Sunshine and Rainbows. The online learning has its origins in the correspondence courses, which go back as far as the 1890s. Students and teachers would correspond back and forth by mail. That's how assignments were given. Students would read, send it back, get it graded. Of course, now we have much more useful technology with things like Google Classroom and chat and email and video conferencing, and that is how the content is delivered today. Speaking of the content, I think it's important to note here, because it'll come up later, that researchers actually separate this into two groups. There are the content suppliers, so like Connections Academy, who design the curriculum, and then there are the schools like Fairfax County, the school system I work for, which actually is in charge of the grading and providing the teachers usually, and there is a separation there, which actually is going to come up later, both in the positive and negative aspects of online learning. So, online learning is growing fairly fast. In the 2014-2015 school year, it was studied and found that there were 2.7 million students enrolled, 4.6 million course enrollments involved in that, so many students were taking more than one course. That represented a 6.2% growth year over year. So what are the benefits of online learning? For students, one group of students that really benefit from online learning would be elite athletes. You might recognize Mia Hamm from the U.S. Women's National Team. She actually went to Lake Braddock the same time I did, and she was never in school because she was always on the road. Now, I understand that she used tutors, but she would be a perfect candidate for online learning because she could just take a laptop wherever she was playing and complete the course. By the way, that's also why Mia Hamm and I never dated. She never got the chance. So, other students that might benefit from online learning, perhaps students who are taking an advanced course like Mandarin Chinese that is not offered in their school district because there's not enough students willing to take it, or there's not a teacher who is available to teach it. Other possibilities would be if you're ill or homebound or otherwise cannot access a brick and mortar school. And of course, there are the students who have been asked to seek alternate educational arrangements. All of these students would benefit from online learning. So, why would school systems be interested? Well, one big reason, apart from the benefit to the students, of course, is money. Research showed that in 2009, Ohio virtual schools cost 56% of their brick and mortar counterparts. So there is some substantial money savings here. Why do teachers enjoy online learning? Well, many teachers who were asked at Mountain Heights Academy reported they enjoyed the flexibility. One teacher said she had the opportunity to walk the dog. So at a brick and mortar school, you have to get up, you have to get dressed, you have to go to school and be in one place at one time. Online schooling gives you some flexibility with how you handle that. And of course, we see here a teacher enjoying some of the benefits of online schooling. Other benefits that teachers reported in that study were that they valued the one-on-one communication they could have with students because they could have individual emails and conferences with each student, whereas in a brick and mortar school, a lot of times you've got 28 kids and it's the same kids answering over and over again, and you may not be hearing from everyone. Okay, and another thing that they like is there were no duties for curriculum, and also the classroom management is much easier. So we said back at the beginning that content providers are the ones that provide the curriculum. You don't have to worry about designing it yourself. And of course, it's pretty hard to send a digital spitball. Although, some teachers do have to deal a little bit with cyberbullying, it's a much simpler classroom management environment you're not having to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So, is it all sunshine and rainbows? Well, yes. But what you have to remember is that sunshine, while it can give you vitamin D, can also cause melanoma. There are downsides as well. And if you think rainbows are all positive, just ask this guy how he feels about losing his life savings every time one appears. He should probably diversify out of pots of gold. So what are some of the other downsides for teachers? Well, in one study with the Utah's electronic high school, teachers were asked, and teachers reported they were isolated. One teacher described it like being on an island. You're by yourself. Other teachers reported that they had trouble developing relationships with students. So you might be able to see everyone one-on-one, but you don't necessarily get that opportunity to talk about other things or see them in the hall and see they look down or something like that. So it can be difficult for that. Holly Mortimer, who's an online teacher in a video, reported that if you like to design your own curriculum, you probably shouldn't do online teaching. Teachers feel like they're locked in. As we said, the curriculum is provided by a content provider, and you don't really get to change that. Some teachers report that they feel like graders instead of teachers. Another problem would be a problem with work-life balance. There are a lot of assignments, and you are always on the clock, it feels like. You have to respond very quickly. So teachers at Utah's Electronic High School often reported that they had a lot of trouble with maintaining that work-life balance. And part of that might be because student loads have been discovered to be a lot higher according to the research being done. So you got a lot more students to keep track of. So there are definitely downsides. In research in Ohio in 2015-2016 had a 44.5% graduation rate for online students as compared to 80.7% in the brick and mortar schools. And the researchers Barber, Murin, and Huerta said it is interesting that the research has consistently found that students attending traditional brick and mortar schools outperform virtual school students. So there's a real problem there. So, in fact, these same researchers recommended that we stop developing online programs and the increasing use of online programs until more research has been done to see what's going on and how we can improve it. But who does do well? Well, researchers have looked at that too, and what they have found is students who are self-motivated, focused, and good at time management. They also need to be able to deal with ambiguity and be flexible. Those kinds of students can be successful in an online environment. So am I saying that you shouldn't do online learning? No, I'm just saying you probably need to make sure that you have some sunscreen.